Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Listen, I've had a few people ask me in the comments on my YouTube channel if I would please show how to go from start to finish in making a print thin cut larger than your mat with a Cameo 4. So I'm going to do just that today. So the first thing I did was I went to Google and I found this image that I really liked. Now you know when we're using Silhouette that usually we can just right click on an image, say copy, and then open up Silhouette and say right click and paste. But this time it didn't work properly because this was a PNG image whose background is transparent and it comes in as a black background. And you may be thinking, well, can you use that little tool that you taught us about over here? Remember when I said go over here to the effects panel and click on this little button right here that says invert? Sometimes I can tell you, yes, this tool will work perfectly. But in this case it won't because the background is black, as is parts of Tigger. So if I say invert it, that's working pretty well, except for that we're losing the black parts of Tigger. So even if we went ahead and traced this, we wouldn't get these parts right here. So this isn't going to work very well, so I'm going to delete it. What I needed to do was to come back over here to Google, right click on this and say save image as. And I've already saved this image into my downloads. So I'll go over back again to Silhouette and open it up. So I'm going to go to File, Merge, and I'll find that image. Here it is, and say OK. So here it is. It comes in pretty small. I know that I want to make it 15 inches tall. So the first thing I'm going to do, well actually the first thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to add the offset to this because I want it to be 15 inches tall including the offset. So to add the offset, all I have to do is come over here to the panels on the right, to the one that looks like a star, and that is the offset panel. I'll just click on that. There it opens. And I'm going to say offset. But I can promise you right now it's not going to work because there's another step I need to do. So let's see what happens when I do click on offset. Okay, instead of offsetting Tigger and Winnie the Pooh, it just offsetted the invisible box that's there. That's not what we want, so I'm going to click on undo or Control Z as in zebra on my keyboard to go back. And what I need to do is I need to come over here to the trace panel that looks like a piece of toast to me. A lot of people think that looks like a butterfly. I'll click on that panel to open it. And then I'm going to say select trace area. So once I click on that, I'm going to be able to draw a box around the things I want to trace. And I want to trace Tigger and Winnie the Pooh. So right now it's not a very good trace because notice not everything is traced. And I want to have a really good trace this time because this is going to be a print thin cut. So what I'm going to end up doing is going to say trace and detach so I have all the colors. So right now it doesn't look too bad, but if you look at Winnie the Pooh's arm right here, you can see there's some openings. So I'm going to move that up a little higher. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Can I move it lower? Okay, I want to show you if it's a low like this. This may be good enough, you might think. But look up here at Tigger's head. See that little opening? If I was to trace it right like this, and I'll show you. With that little opening, if I say trace and detach, I'm going to lose a little bit of the coloring in Tigger's head. Watch. Oh. I lost more than I thought I was going to lose. See that? So that's not what we want. Let's undo. We're back here to the trace. I'm going to up the threshold right here quite a bit further. And so what I really want to make sure is that this little area over here is totally closed. So let's scroll in. Yep, that's totally closed. I think I might drag it back just a little bit And the reason why, you see, if you go too far up, you get all this junk around it. You don't want that. So I can move it back so my lines look pretty smooth here. And that looks great. Let's scroll out and see if anything does look like there's a slight hole in the trace. Nope, looks good. So I'm going to say trace and detach. Okay, now we can pull Tigger and Winnie the Pooh out. And while it doesn't look like there's much left here, there really truly is. If I draw a box around it, you can see that there's some junk that my box has scooped up. And now I'm going to delete that by hitting the delete key on my keyboard. Gone. Okay, now I'm able to put the offset on these guys. So with them selected, I'm going to come back over here to the star tool, which is the offset panel. Click on that, and now I can simply say offset. And I'm going to leave the offset at the default size that it comes in at, which is 0.125. But I am going to come up here right now and change its color, because right now it's transparent. And if you look behind their heads, scroll in, you can see that it's transparent because you can see through the offset. So I'm going to change that offset to white, just like that. And I'm also going to change the line color of the offset to white, like that. Okay. Now I'm going to grab both of these things and group. All right. So let's scroll back out and see what we've got to work with. Here are Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, and as I said, I want them to be 15 inches tall, and if you look right now, you can see that they're about 12 inches tall. So what I'm going to do is lock this lock, and I'm going to change the height to 15, which will automatically change the width, and hit enter. Okay, there we go. So now look what we have to work with, a beautiful image, but we're not going to be able to print and cut this just like this. We're going to have to do some things to this. So the first thing you need to know is, do you have one of those large format printers? I have one, so I would be able to make my print and cut area. Let me show you how big. I could change my registration marks and turn them. So let me show you. This is the page setup panel. I have it set to auto Cameo. The cutting mat is the auto Cameo, and the width is 12 by 12. Now, I could, if I wanted to, leave this like this, and then come over to the third button over, which is the registration marks, and simply click on that. Now, the next thing I'll have to do is to turn the registration marks on. So my large format printer can print things this big, not a problem. So I'd be able to print quite a bit of them. But the chances are that your printer will only print 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. So we're going to have to change where these registration marks are, because your printer can't print anything that large. So you won't have a piece that big to be cut. So let's go back again to the page setup, and this time the media size, or what the paper is that we're going to cut on of the cardstock, is going to be letter 8.5 by 11. Now when I click on this, watch what happens to the registration marks. You see we have a much smaller area in which we can work. But that's okay, because it'll work just fine. So let's bring Tigger over here and see what can we get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using the knife tool to cut these guys up, and to make them, hopefully the cuts won't be very noticeable, because they won't just be squares that I slice out, but I'll be able to follow the contours, the wiggles, the shape of their body. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see, I think I'm going to try to cut out maybe Tigger's head. All right, let's see. So what I need to do, notice there are no lines that go down right here, so I'm having a hard time seeing exactly where I can cut. If I come back to the page setup panel and click on the first button, I can turn this on and turn this on. And now I can see exactly where the border is, where I can cut and print. So now I can bring him in here and see. Let's see. So what I can do with Tigger right now is I could take and cut right around here, down through here, and here, and maybe follow his body down. No, I don't think I'll follow his body. I think I'll go like this, follow his chin, and then come down to here, go straight across, and cut through here. And that will give me my first part, my first page of print then cut. So I'm going to come over here to my knife tool. I have it on outline. I'm going to put it on poly because I want it so that every time I click, I put down a new point. I also want auto apply unchecked because if I make a mistake, I want to be able to fix it before it gets applied. So I'm going to use this little bug tool and scroll in so I can see pretty well what I'm doing. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to get the knife tool again, click on poly. So the knife tool is selected. I'm just going to start right here and just start going through here. Every time I click, putting down a little point. So I'm trying to go just right around his chin. Just being careful. Okay, let's see, where shall I go now? I think I'll go out around this arm and then out. So I'm going to continue on. So notice I'm just kind of following the curve. So when I tape this together, it will be ready, and it will not be as conspicuous because I will have hidden it along the curves. Going to come right out here now, and when I get to the end, notice this thing is still attached to my mouse. I'm just going to double click, and that ends it. Nothing's happened yet till I come up here and say apply. And once I've applied it, it applied the cut, and you can kind of see where the cut is. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and grab this. So what I'm grabbing actually is the Tigger, the colored part, and the offset. And I'm going to right click and say group because I want these two pieces to move away as a group. So that's my first piece that I'll do with the print then cut. Let's see what else we have here. I'm going to scroll back out. And just kind of, I need to regroup this back together. So I'm going to right click, and I thought I did. Let's see, I really thought I had to. I do. So grab them both and group. All right. So now let's see, what can I get of Tigger? I mean of Winnie. I was really hoping I could get right down here around his shirt, but it doesn't look like I can. I'm not even sure. I think, let's scroll in and look at this. Yes, I'll just be able to get there. So I'm making sure nothing's going outside of the lines, and that looks good. I'm going to go back in a little bit. So what I've decided I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take my knife tool and grab like this. And then, what I guess I'll do is I'll go in here and along this and along here like that. And then maybe around his neckline and then out. Okay, so again, I'm going to get the knife tool. I like to practice at first just to see if it makes sense. With the poly, auto apply is off. I'm going to start, where did I say? Yikes. I think I said I was going to start right here. So I'm trying to decide if that's really where I want to start. Yes, I guess I'll start right here. Hopefully this will work out nicely. If not, we can undo and redo. So every time I click, I'm leaving a little node. I'm just going to follow this arm. Let's see, what should I do? So you just have to use a little bit of thought. And again, like I said, if it doesn't look good when you're done, just undo it and try a different way, different path. So I'm thinking rather than leave this little part that would be attached to this thing, I'm just going to go ahead and go out right here and double click to end it and then say apply. Then I'm going to group this together, remember, and let's look and see what our pieces look like. Okay, that looks like that'll be okay. We got some weird pieces left here, like this piece right here, this sharp piece. But when we put it together as a puzzle, hopefully it won't show up much. So there's the second piece. So again, we need to grab both of this and group. Let's see what else we can do. I think I'm going to scroll. I think I'm going to twist this around a little bit. And let's see if Winnie or if Tigger's whole body fits. No, it doesn't. Darn it. They're just a little bit too tall. What if I twirl it a little bit? Does that help? Sometimes you'd be surprised that does help, but this time, no. So I guess what I'll do this time is I'll come down here and go across and out. Is that the best? Down here? Or maybe go like this and out. Which would be less noticeable? I wonder if I come through here and out or here. I think I'll just come down through here and out. So again, the knife tool, outline, poly, auto apply is unchecked. So I'm going to start up at the top right here and just start going down around his body. So if I go right here, that's going to leave just this little tiny skinny piece hanging down. And I don't really want that. So I'm going to go out here. And then I guess come back in here. So this is one of those cases where I'm going to look at what I get at the end and decide, did I make a mistake? Do I need to redo that? Or do my curves sort of make sense? So I'm going to double click here to end this. I'll say apply. Then I'm going to group this to pull it apart to look. Okay, that little piece is kind of weird, but it won't matter. It's better there than just at the top of this piece, a little skinny thing. So actually I think that looks pretty good. Move that over, and then this piece is automatically ready. Let me make sure that both of them are selected and group. And the last thing we have to do is just, whoopsie, undo. Got to group this again first. Group. And let's see what we can do with Winnie the Pooh. So I can scroll him like this maybe. I keep trying to twirl it to see how much of it I could fit. Unfortunately, not all of it. But if I just cut off his shirt, then I'll be able to do all of his body together. So I'm just going to cut his shirt as a separate piece now. So I'll come over here to the knife tool, poly, auto applies off, and I'm just going to come right here and cut cut, cut. Double click to end it, and then apply, and then grab both of these and group, move them aside, and then this last piece, group it, and it should fit perfectly on here. Oh no. Oh, did I make a mistake? No, there we go. Okay, just I have to twist it a little bit. Okay, so we have all the pieces that we need for our print then cut. So what I'll have to do is just start printing these separately. Okay, as you can see here, I've cut out almost all of the pieces that I need. I've saved one to do for you so I can show you how I go ahead and do it. So let me do that. Let's look back up at my screen here. Okay, the last part I have to do is the tiger head and the arm. So what I'm going to do is just come up here to File, Print. And on my printer, I usually like to go to Preferences, and I change the quality to high. And I usually do a print preview, but since I've already printed a bunch of them, I found that the preview is not really necessary anymore for this particular project. So I'm just going to say OK, and I'm going to say print. So this is going to print over there on my printer, and as soon as it's done printing, I'll bring it over here and show you what I have to do next. These are the pieces that I have thus far, and I'm pretty excited about putting this together because I think it's going to be really, really cute. So let me go over there and grab the piece that's already printed. Okay, here's my tiger that has already printed, and now if you'll remember, I need to make sure that I put this on my mat in the exact same way on my real mat that it is on my make-believe mat or my simulated mat up on my Cameo software. So that means that this little square, black square, has to be in the upper left-hand corner because that's the way it looks on my computer on the virtual mat. So here's my real mat. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the upper left-hand corner. Line it up like this. Okay, got a little crooked there. Upper left-hand corner. There we go. Perfect. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this in my machine. And now the next thing I have to do is just come over here and say send. And I already have the correct button clicked here, but I do have cardstock textured heavy. I'm going to have it cut, and I'm using the auto blade. And I actually upped the knife depth on my auto blade because mine works better if I do that. So all I have to do now is click on send. And if you can hear it, it's looking for the registration marks. Once it finds those, it will cut, and then I'll show you what we have. So here's what it just cut out. I'll take it off my mat. Okay, so we now have every piece that we need to make our 15-inch tall Tigger and Winnie the Pooh. So I'll stop here and I'll have all my supplies gathered and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to show you one more part that I failed to show you in the very beginning or near the beginning, and it's simple. That's just to go ahead and cut out the offset layer by itself. And that's if you want to put the popsicle sticks in between to make this have something that's going to stand up. If you're just going to put your picture on the wall, you don't need to do this part, but if it's going to be something that's standing up, you'll want to do this part. So what I'll do first is I'll just make sure it's colored white, which it is. Then I'm going to come up here to Object, Release Compound Path, and that's going to get rid of all these little extra cuts in here. And then I'm going to say right-click and weld. So then they're totally gone. So the next thing I'm going to do is I already did this, but I changed my page setup back to Auto Cameo because this isn't going to be a print then cut. It's just going to be a cut. And I do have paper, cardstock, that's 12 inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and make this be the cutting mat is Auto Cameo, machine is Auto Cameo, and my media size is auto 12 by 12. So this obviously won't fit on here, so I'm just going to have to cut it up with my knife tool again. Come over here and get the knife tool, and this time I'll change it to straight, and I'll leave auto apply on, that's fine. So I'm just going to draw a line from here all the way down to here and let it auto apply, and then just separate those two pieces. And let's see, would we get lucky enough that this will fit? Probably not. So what I'm going to do now is I'll cut this guy in half as well. So let's see, cut. And there may be a better way to cut this, I'm not sure, but this will work fine. And then this obviously won't fit either because it will be too tall. So I'll have to cut it in half as well. So I'm just going to get the knife tool again and just slice in between here, like that. So now I have 4 pieces. So I am going to cut these out and put these back together. They're just going to be white cardstock, and I'll put them back together and I'll join you back here shortly. Okay, so I have everything hooked together. I mean, the 2 pieces, and now all I have to do is to put the popsicle sticks in between to give them stability. So I'll just get a few of these larger ones out. Let's see. Put one here and here, here, and here. Let's see, what else will I want to do? Probably like this. And then probably into the legs like that. And then this leg, I'm going to have the stick that's going to go into the block. So I can just start doing this now. Move my mouse. Take the hot glue gun. First glue it onto here like this. And I need actually a larger glue gun works a lot better. But this will do. Another one up through here. I can see I'm going to need some new glue really quickly, so let me get my glue out real quick. Okay, here we go. And I'll take this one right across the center there, kinda. Okay. This will go up on the arm. There we go. Like that. And let's see, this one will go in this arm. Make this one go down here. All right, so let's see. Now I'll start putting the glue on the top parts. So I'll start here, here. Just do those first and make sure I get this lined up well to start with. There we go. Okay. And continue down. You probably can't see very well what I'm doing. Just putting the glue on the sticks and moving my way down. Put some glue on this arm. See how quickly you go through the glue stick though? Oh my gosh, I'm already done with that stick and I need another one. That's why you might like to have a bigger glue gun to do this. Over here, again, just following down the stick and putting glue on it. Perfect. Okay. Uh-oh, Now here's something I did that I shouldn't have. I should have been paying more attention. The little stick shows through right here where the holes were cut. And I really should have made it so those holes didn't cut, but I forgot to show you that part. So we'll just make do. What I would have done, and I usually do, is if there are little tiny holes like that, what I will usually do is go ahead and release the compound path that puts the little boxes around everything. And then if you weld it, that gets rid of all those little extra cuts that you don't really need. So just continue down here. Okay. So that's pretty much done on that side. Now the only thing I want to do is I want to see how they're going to stand up so I know where to put the stick. I'm going to put the stick right here, up in here. So put that up as far as I can get it to go. Have it come right down his little leg. That. Okay, obviously my stick's too long. And hopefully not tilted too much. Like I said, I just don't have enough room right here to work well. There's my glue gun on the floor. And let's see. So you can see that that's getting pretty sturdy. I could use a little bit more glue over here. Stick that together. And that's pretty good, just like that. So this is what my larger than Matt looks like. If you want to see how big he is, let me get out my little measuring tape. So, not tape, but stick. So from the base of him up to the top, he's a little over 15 inches. And from side to side, he's about 17.5 inches. And then, of course, if I added the base to the bottom of him, which I have to find my cutter first to do that. I can maybe break it. And this block of wood is a little bit too big, meaning that the little piece that I stick it into is a little bit wobbly. I guess I could try for now, just to show you, put a little hot glue in there. Let's see if that'll work for us. Hold that into place for a moment. And I believe that is going to work just like that. So I'll take a picture of it and show you what it ended up with, and I'll have that at the end of the video. Thanks a lot for joining me. Hey, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, check out all the stuff down below. I've got all kinds of things down there. Links to different stuff if you're in the market to buy something. Maybe you'd use my link, and that helps me to be able to fund making these things just for demos for you guys. So again, thanks for joining me. See you again soon. Bye.